NA, the show where your three hopefully favorite NA casters are here. I'm not going to be too offended if we're not your favorite, but you know what?
Something,
It
something,
doesn't
something.
hurt to dream. Doesn't hurt to dream. We're back. We're going to talk about some NA League of Legends action. But first, an apology from Cubby.
I uploaded last week's episode on my personal YouTube instead of the Proving Grounds Pod YouTube. This is a mistake that has happened before, but I did not realize until now. I
You
apologize.
greedy bastard. Taking
Yes.
our content, our loves,
I
our
got the 4
labors.
views, guys. It's yeah, so the episode's live. I'll fix it tonight. I'm really excited.
It's everywhere else.
Really excited for me to not produce this. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're getting a
I'm a little
producer
bit
that isn't
capacity
named
guy.
Matthew Samuelson.
He's a lot cuter than Cubby too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to.
No,
I don't
it's
want to
true.
compare my friends like that.
I will, because it's compared to me. It's true.
Yeah, well, we won't spoil anything, but yeah, we're here. It's a Sunday night. And also another fun thing, as you can see on your screen right now, Raafa's not at home. That is because of
Oh, so tomorrow and Tuesday, I am hosting EGL playoffs, semifinals, and finals, and we're doing it from a live studio at the Helix Esports Arena here in Boston. Well, it's technically Foxborough, Massachusetts. It's about a 30-40 minute drive out of Boston,
What's
and
good?
it's literally right across from the Patriots Stadium.
Gillette.
Gillette.
A lot of rings
So-
are located there.
There was a New England Revolution game that was just being played today over there, I think, or maybe it was a Patriots game. I don't know. See,
nobody
I don't.
cares about that. The Olympics are on.
Yeah.
That's why we're here to talk about League of Legends.
That's right. The real sports. I'm just.
Yeah. We've had some fun
Just off,
games.
who was it? Coach Mike on Twitter. That.
Oh God.
God.
Is this this topic we're going to talk about that? I don't want to talk about that.
All I want to say is, was it Dan Clerky
Yeah,
that gave
Clark.
the fucking roundhouse fucking death sentence of a response, dude? Oh man, I was like, Clerky, you are so hot, brother. Thank you so much for the best Twitter comeback I've ever seen.
It was brutal. That was a little bit unethical, I think. What happened on my timeline? I didn't even drop it a like because my mom follows me. That's how brutal it was. But anyway, let's talk about some more fun stuff. Should we hop right in with LCS, you think? We do that first?
Yeah.
Well, I really liked LCS. I really liked the games this week. I thought we had some really fun stuff. The bot lane 80 carry meta has been really cool. I have been super enjoying the Draven Callista stuff that's been going on, and Raze has been crushing it. IMT went 3-0 this week. It's crazy.
Destiny on him.
We're gonna start there. We're gonna start
Yeah,
with the IMT 3-0.
let's do it.
All right. For a single week performance, given the time that it has taken place and the importance, I don't think there's been a more important 3-0 than Immortals 3-0 this week in the LCS this year.
Considering that they are one spot behind Dignitas.
They're a spot behind Dig, and they stay a spot behind Dig, as Dig did wrap up the week.
Yeah, they also looked really good this week
with the
too.
dub.
Pretty impressive.
So the race for 6th is actually really interesting. But in the race for 6th, Immortals beat Dig, who are holding the spot. The best way to make up ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they beat the two best teams in the league in 100 Thieves and EG. As you're good. They're top of the 100 Thieves are top of the standings. EG, of course, are the hottest team that we have. And Immortals 3-0'd with a random Kane pick that they won the game with. EG
Literally
has some errors
random.
in draft as well. That game could have went a little bit differently, but you got to play with what we're given or the rule set we have. So it is what it is, right? And their win against 100 Thieves today was rather convincing. And they're doing it as you called out with Draven, pick that. I mean, the meta has been a lot of Callista Ziggs and Aphelios to respond to both. And guess what else smashes Callista Ziggs and actually is good early levels? Well, Aphelios is good early levels, but has kill threat early levels. It's Draven, of course. So I think Immortals are. I still want to see more out of this team because like we've seen really hot and cold weeks from them throughout like all the LCS this split. I remember a couple. All right, yeah, you're good. You're still muted. Yeah, all right. We're losing Raafaa. He's pretty
No,
famous.
the front desk called me, so I will be right back.
That
Hopefully,
actually is a
it's
serious one.
yeah.
Look at travel and Raafaa. Yeah. All right. See ya. You're good.
I'll be right back.
Okay. It's all good. Yeah, Mark's in a hotel right now in case that wasn't clear to audio listeners as well. Uh but yeah, so the Draven has been really cool. I had a pretty long talk with one of our friends, Miko, who is on the CLG Academy staff and who have been doing very well, by the way. We're going to get to that later. But the Draven pick has been very much warping uh the bot lane meta right now because we had a long conversation about whether or not Tom Kench was doing like very well for himself in the lane, and basically we both determined, yeah, Tom Kench is going to be pretty strong. He has a strong early levels. He has this knockup which is quite good, but really the big offender is Draven because Draven just throttles every single lane imaginable, and Draven Thresh especially just like doesn't have any losing matchups that can like
They
make him.
do. They're just not getting
Well,
played.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very recent pick too. Ray's just started playing it this week consistently. Like he played it twice this week. So I'm pretty impressed with this. They clearly just had this pick selected as a counter to Callista. It worked really well, and nobody was prepared for it. I mean, they played against EG, they played against 100. Like you said, Cubby, the top two teams, um, potentially the top two like bot lanes as well overall in recent weeks, and just smashed them in both.
So I don't want to call it like warping the meta yet because we just started seeing this response the last 2 days from. I don't think Raze like. I need to talk to like some Oceanic people. I don't think that Raze was like 100% known for his Draven play. I looked up and saw that like he had played it in his time in the Oceanic region because I was on that the game that he first pulled it out on Saturday. Um, for me, it's like something that it just makes sense. Like it's really good in the like it's an unplayable lane for Callista. And you can also play it early in the Ziggs. You need to kill it like the Ziggs early and get ahead. But if Draven does get kills, I mean, it's still Draven, right? Like you get the adoration stacks, you get really snowballed into the game. And the builds that he was going with, like the lethality
Prowler's
Essence
Claw,
Reaver into Eclipse,
yeah,
or not even Eclipse, the Prowler's Claw was interesting, to say the least. But he made it work. It's like a pick where it makes sense like why we're seeing it, but it can't be blinded. And
Mhm.
I don't know how much more of it we're gonna see because it faces a lot of the same issues that Aphelios faces as the game goes on, which is that it still is really susceptible to getting outranged. And I think that a lot of teams are not respecting it at the moment. And it
Right.
kind of worked this week. And so I don't want to call it meta warping because I want to see if teams come up with responses. Like if teams are going to play Caitlyn into it, which got buffed, by the way. If teams are like in the next patch. Or if teams are like just going to start like sticking to Varus and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Uh, Worth noting that Raze is not the only player who picked it in the past 2 days. Dignitas did just pick it for Neo in the last game that we just saw. They beat FlyQuest very easily with it, and it was very effective in that game too. Also into Callista. So it is just seeming like that is that counter pick into that champion, which has been looking for an answer for the past few weeks, but Raze seems to have found it with Immortals, so that's really cool. You can maybe see who they were scrimming with that as well as Dignitas picked it. Uh, other things for IMT, um, their game. I actually so the reason that I tunneled directly onto this Draven was because against EG, Impact was still having a really good game. He did still get kills up in the top lane, and he was doing pretty well against Revenge as well. So like, I really do feel like this Draven pick
Which game was
is
that?
just so huge.
Oh, that was the one yesterday.
Yeah,
So yeah, Impact did get that solo kill on Revenge in
right.
the Gwen Viego matchup. Um, oh, Mark got more food. Hell yeah! All right, hang on. We need updates from Hotel Mark. Hotel Mark, what's
Yeah.
going on?
So somebody uh ordered me. I don't even know what's in here.
Someone
Oh,
ordered you something?
unboxing.
Yeah. I'm trying to rack in my brain who I told where I was staying, and there's only a couple people that I imagine did this.
All right, we got live unboxing on
Yeah,
Raising
we
an
gotta.
EP8.
I'm gonna shut up about Draven. We need to see what this is.
Draven is awesome, by the way. I just want to say about Draven, me and Cubby, or I asked Cody Sutton about that during our interview with TSM Academy. I was like, dude, when's the Draven coming? And he was like, TBA, TBA. And then boom, next week, we fucking see it everywhere. Who called it? This motherfucker. Sometimes I'm smart. What is this? Is this? Oh, wait, it's ice cream, and then oh, it's like a. Have you ever seen one of those like pan like iron skillet cookies, and then you serve like ice cream on top of it?
Yeah, where's the cookie from?
It's from a place called
Oh, it's local.
Jake and Joe's Sports Grill.
So you don't know who sent you this? It doesn't have like a receipt, a name on it.
No,
It's a mystery gift.
I thought it was from Jolly because I saw her downstairs in the lobby with her friends, and I was like, "Oh, did you?" She's like, "No." Not that I wouldn't, but like, no. I'm like, then who the fuck knows? Who did this?
Okay. Anyway, so we're
Let's
at
talk about
Immortals.
Draven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at Immortals to catch you up, Rafa.
Cool.
I know that Revenge didn't have the best performance against Impact, who I consider being like, top tier top laner in the league. I think that one of the things that actually helped Immortal's success this week is that I thought Revenge had a really nice week. His Tom Kench today was absolutely fantastic and essential in their win over 100, or in their matchup. I believe it was 100 Thieves today.
Team Liquid. No,
Or,
I thought it was. Oh, it was.
They played 100
yeah, their
today.
match over 100 Thieves. And I thought it was a big difference in that Dig game as well. I thought he had a pretty good game, and I've seen Revenge kind of have some up and down weeks. I think that I don't want to say it's why we see Immortals have up and down performances. I think that it's a more than just an individual person or reason. But I thought Revenge actually I thought him and Destiny were the members that to me really stepped up. And Insanity isn't looking like a spectator mid anymore. Like he's actually participating in the game. Whereas I had Insanity ranked pretty low on my mid-tier list. He's climbing. It's not like he's going to break top 5, but he's been putting together some better performances of late. I think that as a whole, it just seems like Immortals have really stepped it up. And when push comes to shove, they're bringing it, man. I mean, the last 2 weeks, they're 5-1. Like they needed these games. They're really stepping up. They were 0-3 in week 6, but
It is a tight
who
race.
do we know who got Player of the Week yet? Because
Destiny.
Destiny got it last week.
No.
Or
Destiny.
wait. Oh, Destiny got it this. Okay, yeah. Okay. They
No,
got
Destiny
it wrong on the...
really stepped it up this week.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought that him and Revenge were the big differences.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really impressed. Like for the EG one, I was more remarking about how good Impact is. I've been of all the players in the league, I've been the most impressed by Impact over the past couple of weeks. He looks very, very good and somewhat untouchable in the top lane.
The only reason I don't agree with you is because he's been a baller all year.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
but that doesn't take away from right now, Cubby.
Yeah.
Just because he's already at the top doesn't mean he can't stay there. But I wanted to take that conversation around the top lane and sort of get your thoughts on a question that I saw on Twitter, and it was, or I guess it wasn't a question, it was more like a qualm of whether or not we should still be using the terms weak side and strong side. As I believe it was Pabu who made a tweet saying that the terms suck and they're too generalistic, too big of blanket statements, and that we should be getting more specific. I'm specifically bringing this up because we're casters, we're talking over the games, and all three of us
We've
have
also said
definitely
weak
used those
side and
terms.
strong side before
Yeah,
as well. Thanks.
exactly. So I wanted to ask you about that, the two of you.
I don't have an issue with the phrase. I think that, so like where he might have an issue and like where things are in review is that, yeah, it's like it's pretty generalistic, but also like it's our job to simplify things. My guess is that some people started either abusing it or using it in like settings that were not correct. I think that one thing that I could see from him is that in a 1-3-1, there's like a lot of points in the game, especially like around the 16 to 20 minute mark where Baron may not be up. Where both side lanes are like really weak. Or meaning like that's not the phrase. There's not going to be action in a game a lot of the times somewhere in the 16 to 20 minute mark before Baron's up and when a Dragon's down, right? This leads to the only plays being if you overextend past river and don't have people helping you out. And sometimes when you side lane, if there's an objective on one side of the map and then not an objective on the other, when you side lane, like in reviews, like we would call, like if you were side laning on the side that has the objective in reviews, my team would actually call that like you were in the strong side lane. And then the other one would be the weak side lane because you're away, right? So the weak side lane, you're not going to have help. You're going to be the one that's TPing to respond. The strong one, you are at the objective. You don't need to burn your sums. You were there. And so maybe he like was getting, I don't like, it's like an ambiguous tweet. It's like, I don't really like, I want to like see a specific, like he has an issue, but I feel like in general, like our job's to simplify things. And I think that a lot of the times that players and coaches get hung up on stuff, it's because that it's being used wrong in the context, or because they spend a lot of time talking through it in reviews, and we have to sum it up in like 5 seconds as casters.
I will say that coming from a misuse, what you described, Cubby, as, with detail and context, it makes sense. I think there have been times I myself have been guilty where I simplified strong side lane as like Jace. I just said straight up, okay, Jace is a strong side pick because you want to, the win con of picking a Jace top is you want to funnel resources and jungle attention, maybe support attention, or even mid lane attention, so that the Jace snowballs off the ground. But there are games where the Jace, despite being a pick of what I would classify as strong side, is actually not. Yeah.
Just watch a lot of TSM games where Huni plays Jace.
Yeah.
You will see this example.
I mean, NA Jace in particular just has this tendency where no one plays towards their Jace, and it's like, well, why are we fucking picking this pick then? It makes no sense.
So, like, mine was like a later game point, like a mid to late game stand point. I also think that, like, early game, like, wherever your jungle is pathing towards, that's going to be so-called strong side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My guess is that people were just abusing it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know like what's coming from Pabu, but like I think that the terms are useful and like when they exist, and I don't, until someone comes up with a better way to define them or explain it in like as concise as that. I don't know. I mean, this is like also really common in like NFL defenses, right? Like weak and strong side. Like where's your tight end? Like if you're gonna run like on the left side of like your offense, like behind your tight end, right? Like that's, considered your strong, like you have more members there, or you are on that hash. Like that's going to be like your strong side, right? Remember the Titans, strong side, weak side. It's where it's at.
I
So
do
like,
remember that movie, watching it as a kid.
yeah. So like it's like a phrase that's used in other games as well that I think is applied to League, and I like when we can use phrases from other games that also apply to League. That helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
You know, it's one of my
I
favorite
know.
terms recently that I started using in my casting and just like overall comms. Screening. I like that term a lot
Oh,
because
like
it makes
basketball screens.
where you are essentially, let's say, enemy team is at dragon, and you say fuck the dragon. Let's just push in hibs, right? And then one of you, either your jungler or your support, if they're
Oh, you
playing
like
like,
zone them off like a
you
walk point.
screen them away from the
Interesting.
mid lane. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do in Pokemon Unite when I pick Snorlax.
Oh
Yes.
my god, this guy
I-
bringing up Pokemon Unite in a League of Legends podcast.
Dude, it's a broken move, okay? You know what? I'll talk about it this once and I won't bring it up again. But Snorlax has a Azir ultimate, but old Azir ultimate where you can't dash through it afterward. If you try to dash through it, it'll bounce you away. Except it's on his body like a Braum wall and it's huge.
Smacks, don't
So
worry. We'll talk about Pokemon Unite in a bit. All right.
okay.
I got a game plan for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well, okay. Great. I'm glad we could I'm
So,
glad we could say something on
we're through one
Pabu's
team and
tweet.
one Pabu topic.
Perfect.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Yeah. So, well, I also talked about EG a little bit. I still feel very very good about where EG's at. I think they have personally who I would consider the best top laner in the league. I know LCS seems to be very fond of Fudge. But I'm very high on Impact. I think he is a big reason why this team is doing very well. And I think EG is still on the up and up. I feel no different from what I did last week when we did this episode.
I think
I
both those top laners are fantastic.
True,
I,
yeah. I'm not trying to downplay Fudge at all, but I do think that Impact is the best, and I think that LCS is overrating him a little bit.
mm, I think EG sources will neither confirm nor deny this, but I'm pretty sure they had acquired the last bits of the SKT1 Impact codes from Akoma.
Okay, okay.
So
I'm down.
yeah.
I
Top
drop
Die
it every year,
happened
but they never
on
seem to run out, Rafa.
Mm-hmm.
Top Die happened on C9 though, so maybe it's Reapert. That's him being back in the league is fueling that fire a little bit. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay, so EG, just same thoughts as last week. No change there.
Well, I have some thoughts from the academy situation where they are promoting contracts who did get a game this week.
Mm-hmm.
I have some thoughts relating to that. We can get to that later if we want to.
Yeah, we can get to it
Because
later.
that's a pretty big conversation for academy, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, contracts being on this team, I've talked at length about how I think this double jungle setup is really cool. And I'm really excited that he is on this team in a very meaningful and good way.
He's 3-0 on Diana.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I'm gonna move down the standings a little bit.
Cool.
Let's talk about Dig while we're on Immortals and that race for 6th place.
Kindred mid pausers.
Yeah, what have we seen out of Immortals or Dignitas?
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, they did play Draven, so that was awesome. I already
So
talked
a
about
lot
that
of
a lot.
pluses in Smax's book.
Yeah, true. Tramp's hard, and playing it in competitive is even harder. So great job for making it work as a counter pick. Kindred mid happened, and honestly, this is the kind of stuff that makes me okay with Yusui being in for the LCS team. I'm still a little salty about it, but when he is pulling out these like off the wall feast or famine, kill the enemy laner and flex a shit ton champions, that's why he's in. Like, if Dignitas are picking him that stuff and they're playing around that stuff, and it is like very aggressive, very high octane, and snowbally, then Yusui gets to do what Yusui does. So that game made me pretty excited. I don't know how replicatable that is or how often they're going to be able to do that, but I did enjoy it.
I think that they executed that against the worst early game team in the LCS.
Well, it was still cool, Cubby.
As FlyQuest's new look roster, right? I'm just gonna call them that now.
Yeah.
Um, I really like them with their objective setups. I think their team fighting is great. I think that as the game goes on, they have a really good idea of how to play out the game. They need to work on their early game, and that's like been what's been exposed about that team when they've made the jump, right? It's been a big jump for them, and they've done very well. But we are starting to see more holes, right? And FlyQuest is just, they're not able to match the early games of a lot of these teams.
They're getting stage time. It's okay.
Well, not this week. They were remote.
Yeah.
It's a real ping gap.
All right, it's a ping gap. So yeah. I don't know. I think that for me the more impressive part of Dignitas has been like Acadian's play. I think Acadian's been a damn good jungler for that team, walking in a pretty shitty situation. You were coming in mid-season. You did not demote a jungler. You let go a jungler. You are changing out mid laners. You're walking into a middle-of-the-pack LCS team that's trying to maintain the top 6 seeding. And Acadian's doing everything in his power to do that once again. And I've been very impressed with his ability to, for the 3rd year in a row, step into a team halfway through a season and help get them across the finish line. I think it's been...
Hardock, no less, which is hilarious.
Yeah. So I've been really impressed with Acadian's play. And I think that this guy feels like we've said it before and keep on saying it. I think that he deserves a starting spot in the LCS permanently somewhere moving into next year. I think he's really proven that he can play at that level. I know that there's just a freakish amount of jungle talent on the server, but Acadian keeps on proving himself, right?
Yeah. I mean, the games are there. It is a bummer, as you're saying, that he only gets to come in once there are already problems. So like being in that constant loop has got to just be terrible because you never get to like
You're just
be
always
at the
starting
top
from
of the
behind.
standings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're starting
exactly.
from behind.
And you're never coming into like a fresh situation, let alone a winning one. So it is it is a little bit rough, but
Also, I hate to say it, I think Kane's okay. Moving on. I think Kane's actually all right.
He did win an accidental game this weekend.
No, that was Xerxes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
Kane,
yeah, it was still
okay.
Kane. Wow.
Oh, it unironically was a decent game for Kane too. Like actually,
He'll be out here defending Kane. You know what?
I never thought I'd see
As
the
long
day,
as-
but it clears fast, and I don't know. Like in this league, it feels like you can get away with it. That's really what it feels like.
Was that the game? Was that the game where Acadian started the game off with like 6 red orbs just because he walked into river at the right time? Am I thinking of the same game as you?
That was
Is
the
that
Xerxes Kane game.
that was
against
Xerxes?
EG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
So, Kobe-
that one should be stricken from the record. One, because it
He
was
still
random.
didn't transform until past the 22-minute mark.
Yeah, I know, because that champion sucks.
So Cubby,
Awesome.
are you saying that you weren't okay with Kane back in spring when it was a counter to Lilia? Like the Shadow Kane form?
Well, I was okay with it then because Canyon was playing it, and he kind of breaks the rules. So, I didn't know. I actually wasn't as sold on the Kane back then. I am still not super sold on it, but if it's like it feels like a pick where you take it to get away with it, right? And it's like, guys, it's like it's such an ego pick. It's like, guys, we can win. We can just go even the first 15 minutes. Like, I know on the roll, it's like supposed to like get lanes off the ground and get ahead, but we're just gonna go even, and then I win, right?
It
That's
just
what the
feels
pick
like
feels like.
Yeah, it feels like faster farming Kha'Zix, right? Because Kha'Zix is kind of the same way. You don't really have agency early on as Kha'Zix. You can decently skirmish, but against junglers like Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, you can't. You have to like path away from them and look for counter ganks, or you have to look for ganks away from the enemy jungler. Whereas Kane, you have much more mobility to do that, and you farm a lot faster than either of those two junglers.
Yeah, I mean, either way. Okay, so do we have anything else on Dig? At the end of this, I'm still gonna ask you guys who you think's gonna get the
Sixth
sixth
seed?
seed. Now, last week I said that Dig would, and you two said that Immortals would. Might have been wrong.
I still think it's going to be Immortals. Immortals did exactly what I thought they would.
Dude, I thought their
week.
schedule would be way too hard. Like,
okay, yeah. When I say they did exactly what I thought it would, I thought they would, I did not
they
think
did
that
what
they
they
would
had to
beat
do.
100 and EG, but they did beat Dignitas, and that I did predict. So they're already on track. I think they're going to do it still. But they are that one game behind. It's still not going to be easy for them to do, and they did show their hand with the Draven prep that they had. But
we never know like if someone shows their hand or not with that though. Like they could have more in their sleeve.
I do think that they already got through the toughest part of the schedule though. They now have to play Team Liquid, FlyQuest, and Golden Guardians.
This is true.
So I think that they still have that chance. And I
Dig
think
plays COG, C9, and TSM. While we're on it, who do you think is going to take the 6th seed next week? Dig have a game advantage. So
I'm still going with IMT.
I think Dig loses to TSM. Cloud9's looking better, so I'm gonna put faith in Cloud9 that Perks is as he said on the Next Level episode, not this week, but the previous week before, that as he said, usually during the mid-season he takes time off and doesn't play solo queue so that he can rest, and then near the end of the season, going into playoffs, he plays more solo queue. His Zoe, even though they didn't win, his Zoe looked pretty good. So
That's Cubby's I disagree with you face.
Did you see him getting his shit camped and pushed in the mid lane early by Sword Art?
Sword Art's pretty cool. That game was so fun.
He was being so disrespectful with those portals.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I
had a great time watching the TSM game.
In the later parts of the game, Mark, I agree. But
okay, so let me explain why.
There were some oopsies.
I was on a plane when the first match was playing, so the only two matches that I saw in full were the Fly Dignitas game and the CLG EG game, and I was just looking through the highlights, and I saw that in the mid game, Perks was landing really good portals. So I didn't see from the highlights video.
You skipped the shitty parts.
I guess I skipped the shitty parts, so I have been exposed.
Oh man, that game was really fun. So Cubby, you brought up last week that you were really unimpressed with TSM's early game.
Okay. It was
compared to their late game. I'll say it that way.
I mean, yeah.
Does this week change that at all? Are you more confident in that aspect of their game, or are you still just thinking that this team is win late or they have troubles?
The loss to EG still concerns me.
Okay.
Like, my claim last week was that TSM should have won 3-0, and the style that they were playing in was if you are a TSM fan, you should be excited because their early game is looking significantly improved like last week. It's still getting better, but I'm optimistic about TSM. But if I'm putting my chips in who I think is going to go to Worlds, I don't have the most chips on TSM still.
Okay.
Like, I probably still have the most chips on EG at the moment.
I do too.
And then TSM would be next, and then 100.
Okay, so still above 100.
Yes, I actually, I think that TSM, like, my issue with TSM right now is that I don't think they match up well to 100 and EG, but I think they match up really well with TL and C9, with how they've been playing at the moment. And C9 are starting to look better. And I think that
They
is
are.
actually the biggest talking point of this week in the LCS is that C9 are starting to look a lot better.
Dude, Vulcan looks very good.
I was tweeting out how good Vulcans looked like the last
Yeah.
few games. Oh my god. Like, I don't know what they're putting in Vulcan's breakfast or lunch or whatever he eats before the game, but he was putting together some of the best support play I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was matched today by the first game of the day with Core JJ's set against Golden Guardians. Holy smokes. That counter gank mid where he pulled in the rel and clapped 3 and like burned a flash, burned that cooldown, and just like got rid of the play, like just negated it completely. Dude, that guy's still on another level with the support role.
Yeah.
Like,
we're bouncing around,
my God.
but the support gap in that game was really big. I feel for Chime because he tried to make the plays. Like that the game ending play
right?
for Team Liquid. Yeah, and I love that about Chime, and I love that about any support that is willing to just go for it when you have to. But Chime had a rough rel game.
Like,
sure.
Still in this league, it feels like Vulcan and Core JJ are still so much better than every other support. And I will Sword Arc as an honorable mention, as he has been playing better. Or honestly, he's not even playing better. He's been fine all season, but people just meme him because he gets paid a lot. But he's been the third best support all season, right? Vulcan and Core JJ are just on another level, man. Like,
yeah,
the reads that they have like on the map and the way I think it might have to do with like how their team comes as well. I don't know, but they're different, and I still like that's what I have this tweet scheduled to go out tomorrow. If you are a fan of NA or EU League of Legends, this is the first season in the 9 years that I've been a fan of League where I legitimately feel like there are 5 teams in each region that could represent like the region at Worlds in any order. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly who the 5 are in NA. I'm actually not a very dedicated EU watcher.
So EU's been tough. I've been catching up in the last couple weeks because I've semi-pro, like I'm wrapped again for EGL.
Yeah,
and so I've been catching up on some EU.
I'm assuming it's Misfits, Rogue, Mad Lions, G2, and
Fnatic.
Is it Fnatic? Okay,
they're doing Fnatic was the one that I had locked in my head because they've been looking pretty good.
Oh, also, quick amendment to my statement. Sword Art may not be the third best support in the league. Is Hui? I'd actually put them like the next tier. They're probably the next
Hui's
two.
Quite good.
Thanks Switchbox in the chat for mentioning that. But returning to the previous point, if you are a League fan, this might be the most fun race to Worlds I've ever seen in both regions. Legitimately. Like, I really do not know the teams that are going to get out in which order. Usually it's like, oh, like, race for third. Like, that's how we pitched it coming into the season, right? Like, who's going to come in behind C9 and TL? Usually EU, it's the same way, right? Because the G2 Fnatic are just locks. That is not the case this split. There are good teams that, like, in LEC, there are 5 good teams. In LCS, there are 5 teams that are competitive to go to Worlds together, right? So I think it's going to be a really fun race.
Rozork has been my favorite jungler from EU for the past couple of years.
Dude, okay. He's been really good this split, but Inspired, man. Dude, that guy's built different. Inspired's actually
First,
built different.
I have a soft spot for Resork because he was the first jungler in EU to bust out Echo, and
Mm.
he did the Gnasher's Tooth build, which
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, which was super cool. So he always does cool shit.
Dude, Inspired has been ridiculous this split. Like, and also
What
honorable
about
mention to Blippo,
Whippo?
who is a
Yeah,
hell of a jungler actually.
yeah. I was gonna say if
Blippo is
we're
built
talking
different
about
in the
EU
jungle.
junglers, we don't bring up Whippo.
Yeah, no,
Like I said,
Blippo's like
I've been
actually third best like in the
yeah,
league. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I've been watching EU casually on and off. The Fnatic games, I always turn those off. The they're very fun. And I love the Whippo trash talk too. It's great seeing him just slot into his third competitive role in EU, by the way, and Smurf on it. So
Wait, was
I'm
top not his first? What was his first?
no, his first was top, but you remember the season where they subbed Reckless
Oh,
out and
and
he
then
played bot?
he was bot lane.
Mm-hmm.
He would play Garen
Mm-hmm.
bot, and then they had Yumi. That's right. Okay,
Yep.
okay. True, true, true,
He
true.
played bot lane.
Please tell me there's trash talk where he talks shit to oh god, what was the fanatical jungler?
Self-made.
Selfmade, yeah. Because I wasn't that a thing that like Whippo and Selfmade would constantly argue about like what jungle should do here and here and here and
I don't
I
know.
don't even know. I don't, I don't know the through lines of the lore of all the people, the old kings, the new kings, whatever it is. But it's fun to watch. We're not raising EU guys. Let's get back to NA.
I mean, NA, like,
Uh,
we better enjoy the race to Worlds because Worlds is going to be rough. But
yeah,
the race to Worlds, let me tell you, it's going to be a hell of an entertaining split.
yeah. So I wanted to address this because we've been spending a lot longer on LCS on these shows than the other stuff, and that's because one, the playoffs are very soon. There's a lot more there's a lot more to come for Academy and for uh semi-pro. So we're getting into like we're not fully ramped up into all of that yet, but we are higher up on the ramp for LCS, and that's why it's so fun to talk about right now. But
yep.
yeah, uh, well, the only team we haven't talked about in that top five is Team Liquid. Um, they, I still, Cubby, I agree with you
We haven't talked about
that
100 Thieves either, but let's start with TLs, yeah.
oh yeah, I agree with you that they are feeling like they like when they get to best of fives, they're still very scary, and they're like how did you put it? They're
So,
like
the way that I
super
put it
clutch. I
last
don't remember
week when I was
exactly.
making the same pitch as 5 teams that could race to Worlds,
Right.
is that I wouldn't want to bet against Core JJ in a best of 5.
Hmm.
But TL, I had the hunch last week, and I think it was proven even more this week that they still feel like a very one-dimensional team.
Yeah.
And that concerns me a lot.
Well, Cubby, it's actually two dimensions. There's one when Alfari is in, and there's one when Jenkins is in, and they're different. So that's two entire dimensions there.
I mean, there's only one dimension, and that's Alfari. And they're just trying to
Yeah.
kingdom for Alfari, right?
Yes.
It's I really don't know like what else to say about TL because it's like kind of sad watching the second best team in the league just kind of collapse throughout the entire split and show remnants of brilliance with like good early games and then other games where it's just like, all right, early game didn't work out. It's like GG. And
Yeah.
I it's tough because I know they've gone through like a lot of roster swaps. They had a coaching swap. Just feels like EG and 100 Thieves, like, I don't know, do they catch up to the rest of the pack? Is TL just not as dominant? It's weird. I don't know. I really like don't know like what's I can't put my finger on exactly like what happened with TL this split, but they're just not at the same state they were. And that's what I have to go off of. And it feels like a one-dimensional team. It's Kingdom for Alfari or we lose.
Luckily, Alfari is really good.
He
So
is the
there's
best
that.
top laner in the league.
But on the other side, top lane is actually the farthest lane away from the bottom lane, and that's where Core JJ is.
But that's why you just pick
And
Varus.
yeah, but you still have to have Core JJ in the bot lane sometimes, and he can't be top lane that. And if you're playing to top lane, and you have Core JJ on your team,
Well, what if you don't pick Varus, you pick Ziggs or Ezreal, which are fantastic ADCs you can just leave by themselves.
and you get Dravened, bro. They're
Mm,
playing against Immortals.
well, okay.
That's their next match.
I see.
No more blind Callistas, baby.
Hmm.
Blind Callista, you get Draven.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
It's pretty sick.
yeah. Hmm. So is there just no more safe AD marksman picks or bot lane picks that you can just?
Varus is a safe pick. Like, you can abandon Varus. Same with Ezreal Ziggs.
That's what I was.
Yeah. Like you can do it, and TL has played more Varus than any other team because it sets up well for Core, right? Core gets to go do his thing and try and outplay the enemy team and enemy support, which, if I'm TL, that's the game plan, right? I don't know. Jensen's like a middle of the pack mid laner this split, and I feel like that's like partly because Santorin and like he's had to swap junglers a lot, right? I think that the meta shift, he looked okay on it. But I don't think it's benefited him as much as some of the other mid laners. It's kind of weird. It's like I can't really put my finger on like what's going on with TL, right? Because on paper that roster is fantastic, and I know that they've had a lot of shit happen this split, and it just seems to be bleeding into the rift, and that's really it. That's like all I can really say.
Pain.
I don't know anything else. I can't speak like what's going on behind the scenes, but from what we know that things were happening, and it seems to have bled onto the rift. So
The one thing about the changes that hasn't been talked about a lot, but was mentioned publicly, was on Tactical's Next Level episode. He said that since Jat left, like since then, still true now, there feels like there is something missing from their prep and from their scrims and from the way that they analyze the game. He mentioned that like just what Jat was bringing to the table. Well, he didn't go into details on why he left, but he did say that
He facilitated.
Yeah, exactly. He appreciated the way that Jat was bouncing conversations around, and he mentioned that it did feel lacking now that he was gone. So I don't know what happened with that. I don't think anyone is ever really gonna know, but it is just a really rough situation for a lot of different reasons for Team Liquid. But again, Alfari is pretty good. So if they're playing to Alfari and it works, then it works. But yeah, it's a little tough.
all right, what's going on with 100 Thieves?
What is going on with 100 Thieves? You know what? I'm still a closer fanboy. And I don't think that's ever going to change.
I'm gonna use the same. Okay, go, Mark.
Yeah. I just want to say, I don't remember most of the games in full detail, but I remember how I was like, man, I think Spica's a better jungler than closer because I feel like Spica has to work with losing lanes far more often than 100 Thieves does, and therefore it looks easier for closer to look good. I saw that Graves game. I am so sorry I said that about closer. Holy fuck.
That was should have lost that game, by the way.
That was some Chad Graves gameplay, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, closer is so clutch.
That made me wanna play some fucking full AD Graves, man. The Olaf game, when you were popping off about the Olaf game smacks, I was like, okay, listen, they overextended and then they
never
were
been in that spot.
slow. Yeah, that was like that's super easy for closer to. But then the thing that like made me pissed even in that game with the Graves, well, Turtle just needed to fucking flash over the wall and get away. He like baited.
Well, it was actually, so it was a split call with the Realm Warp, if you go back and like watch it. And that's why it ended up looking so bad in the end. Because like they Realm Warped out and like they walked back in. It was weird.
Just CLG things, I guess.
But
I
they
don't know.
won. They are 3-3 though in their last 2 weeks, including a 1-2 week this week. And they lost to C9. The C9 have been looking much better. They lost to Immortals, which I think surprised a lot of people. And then they beat CLG in a 42-minute game. With any diagnosis for 100 Thieves? I have my own, but I'm kind of curious what you guys think.
You know, I was gonna go somewhere with that, but I actually just do want to hear yours. Because I'm not as confident on this one, truthfully.
I think it's patch read. I think that there's no more Lulu's in, Karma's in, Zin's permad. The Enchantresses kind of fell out of favor with the changes to their items and other champions across the rifts. Aurelia's really fed or really good, which is really good in the Enchantresses. She just gets free lane, right? And now Aurelia scales, which is a nightmare. And FBI mentioned it in the interview we did with him on League Day for Saturday. And I agree. Like I was like kind of scratching my head, and then once FBI said like, I feel like we haven't had the best read in this patch, being honest. I'm like, you know what? I kind of agree. Like I feel like Ryze has really gotten back into the meta, and Abadage is a good Ryze player. But 100 Thieves, their entire split with Abadage, have been playing Enchantresses through Closer. They've been playing mid-jungle duos, which you can do with Ryze, but they haven't been side laning a lot. It's been a lot based on, controlling objectives, and Ryze kind of breaks the game in the side lane with the fact that he can escape and just shove waves so fast. So I think 100 Thieves have kind of struggled to, I don't want to say struggle, but they just haven't adapted to the meta as well as a team like EG. As I actually credit EG a lot for their drafts and meta reads, for why they're on the hot streak that they are. And I feel like because of that, they've kind of fell to the wayside a little bit and
It's
don't
really
look like the best team.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the mid lane meta has just shifted so fast within the span of the summer. Because at the beginning of the summer, it was like Lee Sin mid, Viego mid, sometimes Gwen mid, if it, before the some nerfs came in, and then fighters got nerfed, but you can still play some fighters mid like Zet and Renekton, right? But then control mages like Azir came into the meta, as people were saying, oh, well, you know what, we can play Azir in this certain matchup. But as soon as Azir was getting back, then immediately people were like, time to slam LeBlanc again. And then it was like, we're having LeBlanc blind pick situations. But now, especially in academies we saw this week, a lot of people were blind picking LeBlanc, and people's answer into the LeBlanc was the Ryze. And the Ryze was winning.
Dude, Ryze wins that matchup, but watch LPL, man. They're just blinding Ryze. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so now we're just in Ryze meta. So like but do you see what I'm saying? The mid lane
You
meta
also missed out on the Lucian Akali stuff too. That's how crazy this meta's been.
Yeah, Lucian Akali's still getting played. Aurelia's getting played mid lane too. Yeah. So like, but
Aurelia's getting banned.
See how fast this shit is like warping. Like we're running through so many different like mid lane picks.
It's literally week to week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different every week.
There's been a week meta for mid.
And I wonder. Yeah. I wonder if it's just because like as people are like saying like, oh yeah, well this champion feels good right now, and then when one mid laner starts playing that champion, then the other mids are like, oh, they're playing that champion? Okay, well maybe it is good. I want to try it. Oh yeah, it does feel good. But then I can never understand like if that's because there's a certain patch change, because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been able to keep up with patch notes as well as I should have. So whenever things come into the meta, I always like try to go back and look like, oh, was it because of a patch note change? But as far as I can recall, there wasn't to rise. There was the potential revert of the Zonia's Realm Warp bug, which I'm
Oh
glad they
yeah,
didn't.
they fixed that right away.
Yeah. I was like, why
Please
are we
God,
allowing
never
this?
again. No.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was stupid.
that was so dumb.
So, like, it's just funny to see how just picks come back into the fold so quickly and what inspires that.
Yeah, I feel like with that being what FBI and what you think about 100 Thieves, I probably just need to go back and look at all of their drafts intently because that has been something that I haven't ever really been like really keen on. I always just have the excuse of draft is for nerds, but
I mean,
that
like
is definitely something I'm gonna
when I'm
have to keep
casting a
more
game,
an
like
eye on.
I don't think it matters like as much because I want to like you still have to go through the right steps to win.
Hmm.
But if I'm looking at a game from the outside in and I'm consistently seeing teams give themselves what I deem to be like a 60-40 or 70-30 chance to win based on draft, like EG have done for the most of the season,
Hmm.
yeah, it matters. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it definitely does matter, but it's fun to say it's for nerds.
It's also fun to only talk about draft and ignore the rest of the game.
No, that isn't fun, Cubby. But I assume that was just sarcasm from you. You
Moving
know
on.
what? There's one other team that I want to give a quick note to, and that is Golden Guardians. Um, they got their first winless week in LCS, and I'm sad about it
Was it
because it
Academy
did
2?
feel like uh
Do I have
actually
to say it?
I don't think it was Academy as well. I'll look.
I don't want to
No, it
have to
wasn't
say it.
Academy. They went 2-2. They went
All right,
2-2.
all right, all right.
But yeah, they did have their first winless LCS week, and that's pretty crazy to say considering they are in the bottom two. That they have picked up wins every week until this one. Um, but yeah, I'm a little bit sad about it. That
All right.
was the Tom Kench was it's still cool but sad because they lost.
Real quick, going into next week for LCS, 100 Thieves and TSM, I believe they have to win. So they play each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
first game.
and
And then
whoever,
Team Liquid 9.
yeah, and so the
Hmm.
fight for first seed matters, um, a little bit. That'll be fun. But they're both 2 games up over C9 and EG when it comes to the buys.
Yep.
And since one of them win automatically, and the 100 Thieves have Golden Guardians and EG, which is tough. TSM have CLG and Dig. I think that the buys are locked up. We've already talked about the race for 6th. FlyQuest, fun fact, FlyQuest also had an 0-3 week.
Yep.
CLG did pick up a win with Golden Guardians 0-3 week, which means that FlyQuest still have a game over Golden Guardians in that 8th seed spot in the race for 8th. FlyQuest next week play Golden Guardians on the first game of the day. If they win that, winner of that, honestly, that's pretty big ramifications. The other schedule is FlyQuest plays Immortals and CLG. Golden Guardians play 100 Thieves and Immortals. Who is getting out race to 8th? FlyQuest are a game up on Golden Guardians. Who you got?
I think I think Golden Guardians beats FlyQuest, and then I think FlyQuest beats CLG. So then I think FlyQuest takes it. That's my go.
I've got FlyQuest at this point. I think it's too
Yeah.
hard for Golden Guardians to do it. I think they drop
They're
a
on a
ball. That loss
five.
to CLG is going to sting.
Yeah, they're on
Yeah.
a 5-game loss streak right now, but they haven't faced their competitors yet. Of um. Oh wait, no, they did play CLG, didn't they? FlyQuest. They already beat them.
No, FlyQuest plays CLG last.
Oh yeah, I just read it
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, so I was right. I was right initially. They haven't played their competitors yet for that last spot, and I think that they should have at least one of them down. But I think it'll probably be the CLG one.
Okay, moving on to Academy. Um, Academy this past week. I think the 2 most important things that happened are that FlyQuest and 100 Thieves both locked in top 6 or playoffs. Dignitas and CLG both locked bottom 4 or UGP/UEA. UEA's companies that running. I don't know what they're gonna call it. I don't know.
I
If it's
think it is
announced
just
United
Unified
Grand
Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Prix.
Yes,
So
it
it's
is the
UGP
same
again.
thing.
So that's the tier 1 where you have to play the semi-pro teams.
Yep.
Storylines of last week: FlyQuest had a 4-0 week, including a 2-0 over Immortals, who we were heavily hyping up. Mortals had a 1-3 week as they split with EG. TL also had a 1-3 week. I was hyping up TL and Immortals a lot coming out of week 7. They dropped the ball a little bit. And EG had a 3-1 week as well. They seem to be sorting out some of their stuff. What are our thoughts on Academy?
Did we have Tomio's Academy debut on Thursday?
No, he's not playing until
He's not playing
the
until playoffs.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Still
That's right.
contracts.
But
Even
he
though
is
contracts
not allowed to play for EGL, and we will leak who is subbing in for EGL as it is announced.
Oh, they announced it?
They announced it.
Well, I don't know if it's announced, but we're leaking it anyway.
All right.
Okay, it's tomorrow.
Sure?
So
It's tomorrow.
You
it
got,
is literally tomorrow.
We're
You got
doing
the
this
clear
to
from
hype up the
Ido?
semi-pro boys.
You got the clear from Ido?
No.
Just want to make. Oh.
Oh man,
He has 20 minutes to yell at me.
Okay.
Anyways, probably won't be published until after the games tomorrow anyway, so.
Oh shit. Oh.
Well, Dimitri just typed it in chat anyway, so it's not us. It's not our fault. What? We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So, what were we even gonna say? I was trying to change the subject.
Academy.
With a quick snappy.
Academy.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about Academy. So not only were we wrong about the momentum of IMTTL, we were also wrong about the momentum of Cloud9, who had a pretty good week. They split games against GG and they 2-0'd Dig, who are really struggling. As we mentioned before, they already locked bottom
Is
4.
that a good week, Max, or is that an acceptable week?
For C9? I mean, considering the past few weeks, let me go back and read to you the results of the past few
I think
weeks.
a 3-1 week for C9 is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But it is
okay.
against
They
the
went
two worst
1-3.
teams, so two of the
They
worst
went
teams.
1-3 and they went 2-2.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, but it's good in the sense that they need the wins to stay in the top 6 for
I think
proving
it's good for morale too. Like those guys are shooting for the top, right? They're shooting for the ultimate win of everything. But I think
C9
just
are
going to
be in
general are good.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really
Okay.
only a race for 6th, which TSM actually overtook Immortals with Immortals' bad week. We talked about how Immortals had a tough schedule. That continues as Immortals have to play C9 and TL, and TSM are playing Golden Guardians and C9. So
the 6th spot has yet to be determined for
it's yet to be
playoffs.
determined. It's one game off. Everything else, it's not locked in, but it's likely locked in.
So more than likely, so for
Unless
Academy
TL and C9 go like 0-4. Yeah, it's probably locked in.
Okay, so then let's recap then. Well, for Academy playoffs, we have FlyQuest, 100 Thieves, EG, TL, Cloud9, and then either TSM or Immortals racing for the 6th spot as our most
Golden Guardians could still happen, but probably not.
Whereas our bottom 4 would be CLG and Dignitas, as they're confirmed, and then probably Golden.
That's likely going to happen. They have to 4-0 and get help, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the TSM IMT spot's really contested, like highly contested. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matters a lot because not only do you get to play in the playoffs for both of these teams who are looking a lot better than their standings would otherwise say. I would say, because TSM had the mid lane situation that they're still working out. Actually, they're still subbing in mids, but they're making it work a little bit better. And Immortals are now fully on ping, so it's hard to say if they would have gotten those wins in the early weeks, but it very well could have happened. But anyway, that aside, the difference between 6 seed and 7 seed in Academy regular season is gigantic, because when you go into proving grounds, you can get 6 seed if there wasn't a playoffs, or you could be 11th seed because there are 4 semi-pro teams ahead of you. And even if you win UGP, the most you could possibly get is 11th seed,
This is
and
true.
you could go all the way down to 16, which
The seeding's going to be
would put
really
you against one
fucky
of the top.
too, because some of
Yeah,
the semi-pro teams that are qualifying are not better than Immortals or TSM.
yeah. And really interesting thing about the seeding too is that when you're in UGP, your seeding automatically puts you in the first round against an academy team because you are the bottom six teams and the academy teams are locked into top six.
Mm.
So you dodge all of the semi-pro teams in 7 through 10, which is a really big deal. Um, I think saying this out loud, it kind of feels like an oversight at this point. Uh, but I I don't know. Maybe it's an anomaly that there are like so many good academy teams. But anyway, I digress. That matters a lot. So for these two teams, TSMA is going to be playing against Golden Guardians and Cloud9, and Immortals is playing against also Cloud9 and Team Liquid. Based on that, I'd say it's probably TSM favored. What are you guys' thoughts?
For the sixth spot?
I think it's
Yeah,
TSM favored based off schedule. I still think Immortals are a
right.
better team, but they had a really tough schedule and they didn't show up last week, so
Yeah.
that's tough.
TL didn't either for what it's worth, but I'd
They're
say
already
based
locked.
on
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
I
no
cursed
way.
them.
You absolutely did.
Yeah,
Okay. So we got all of that out of the way.
Which is kind of a shame for Immortals Academy because this roster now, like you said, Smacks, they at most are going to be 11th seed if they
if they don't make it, yeah.
if they don't
They
make it to the Academy playoffs and they win the whole UGP.
it's spooky for them for sure.
Yeah. Well, if they're a good team and they continue being a good team, then it won't matter. They'll just continue winning. So
Just win.
yeah,
Hashtag just win. Myra's favorite.
hashtag just
We
win.
love that.
If you really are the best team, then just fucking win. I guess.
So yeah. Uh other well, I guess cool academy thing. All three of us are casting academy this week. So that's gonna be really fun.
is that it for
And
Academy? Really?
what? No,
You spent like
that's not
eight
it.
minutes on it.
No, that's not gonna be it. I'm saying that
Okay.
we're all gonna be casting the final week. The final week's really exciting because of that. I'm building hype, Cubby.
Okay.
Get off my back, okay?
I thought
Let's
you,
get into
you
my.
phrased it like we were moving on. I was like, oh my god.
No, I'm not moving on.
Okay.
I was saying that we're as soon as we're done with this week, then we'll be done with regular season. We'll have that locked in, and everything will get moving into the postseason of it, which is gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
We hopefully the day that me and Smacks are casting is on Thursday.
Yeah.
We are hoping that we'll check with Cubby, make sure if it's okay. But it would be awesome if Thursday's the day that we're on Academy because we have a special treat planned.
We are. We are.
We are.
Yeah. So Len and I are on for 4 games on Wednesday, which usually means we're alternating. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that that is the case. But yeah, Mark is right. We did prepare something very fun for that day. And it's on the floor right next to me, but I'm not going to show you. You'll just have to tune into
Yeah.
Academy.
All right. Excited to see it.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a quandary.
Tune in on twitch.tv/academy on Thursday. Well, actually, just tune into Academy every single day
Both.
this week. But
Yes. I have a quandary. So I heard on the grapevine that once you get into playoffs and proving grounds, that for all of the teams, including Academy, including semi-pro, you only get 5 players. And if that is true, I am most questioning what is going to become of TSM because they are still swapping back and forth.
Is this
Takeover played.
confirmed? Where have you?
I heard this in the Scrim server.
Oh,
Maybe I'm wrong.
it's the Scrim server.
It is the Scrim server.
I have no idea. I
That
really
sounds
hope
like
that's
complete
okay.
ass.
I'm going to push back that that's probably not the case because Riot went out of their way to make sure that amateur teams could have a sixth person to prevent sub situations. Because
Yeah.
subs were leading to FFs, which were not fair based on old Scouting Grounds rule, which I agree with.
hmm
So I'd really like to believe that that's not the case when we get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if that happens, I think we'll cross that bridge with TSM. And I think
And
that...
100.
Oh, okay, well, Busio just won't be on the roster.
Well, if that's the case, then yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
Busio's...
wanted to bring it up
I
because
don't expect Busio to play. I think
They
that
just
they
wanna
just,
keep him
much
in the
like
org.
Tenacity and Kenvi, like they just wanted to
Right.
keep those. Like they wanted to keep
well,
Busio.
Kenvi played, but Tenacity didn't.
Kenvi did play. Tenacity was not able to. Partly because of ping. He was like on 120 ping.
Right.
Yeah. But they still kept him and it paid off, right? And
Mhm.
Tenacity is one of the stronger top line prospects we have. In a talent pool that's very weak, mind you, his top and supports are kind of, still not
Who was
great.
even in 100 Thieves Academy last year? Was that contracts and then he got promoted to LCS? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they made the trade and then made room for Kenvi.
Mhm.
And then they still had Fake God in Academy.
Who was their LCS jungler at the time before contracts?
Medios.
Yeah,
Oh,
Medios.
that's
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
little round 2
And he
electric
didn't-
Boogaloo there.
Yep. Fun times.
Oh, and then Medios had the salty tweet. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Anyway,
Now
I
he's on
wanted
next
to.
level as host. So
True.
it's a-
Great show. I wanted to bring that up because it would heavily affect TSM Academy. It potentially affects 100 Thieves if they want to do something with that. And that is about it. Although there was one other roster move in Academy going into this week, and that was Tomio. Tomio is on Evil Geniuses Academy now. They promoted him. And what better timing than to talk with Ido about all of that this week? Self-plug, by the way, if you want to hear more about Tomio and Evil Genius's prodigies.
Wait
Evil
until the
Genius
end of this
pipeline.
episode where I have to make the thumbnails and I can upload it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get that from Cubby.
I've got some work to do.
Kobe.
But yeah, so let's talk about Tomio. So the three of us have been very high on him for all of this year for good reason. We had him very high on our prospects list, which we're not updating this time. We will have another update for you all next week. But
Once
Tomio was
we
very high on that.
and it will be a precursor to UGP, essentially.
Yeah. What do we think of Tomio's promotion?
Much deserved, and it's really awesome.
Makes sense.
I mean, I think as EG make their push as one of the 3 seeds to go to Worlds, which I think they can do it, especially in the form that they're in. Contracts has to go as a 6th man, and prepping for Worlds and going to Worlds is going to take place during the same time as Proving Grounds, which Evil Geniuses Academy will for sure be part of. So I think makes more than perfect sense to have Tomio play in EG Academy. And if you look at that current roster, Tomio gets to now play with Tony Top and Jojo Pyun, very strong solo laners. Not to take anything away from Sturdy or Aspect, but those two are upgrades over the 2 laners just because of, they're just better individually. The bottom lane, also, I think Team Luke and Shoryu are comparable. But Mystique's is probably an upgrade over Skytech. So Tomio gets to just play on a straight up better roster. And Tomio is now getting ready for an academy lifestyle, because I assume at some point they have to they're gonna fly him out so he can be in LA.
That's actually a good point.
Good question.
I don't know what Tomio's going to do about high school. That's a big question for him at this point.
Well, one of his jungle peers just gave him some pretty valuable advice with that.
That's
one
right.
Odd Orange did
Episode
suggest
26.
that he drop out of high school.
He took it back in the end.
He did take it back.
That's pretty funny though. Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know, it makes sense. Like, he's the best jungle prospect that hasn't had experience in LCS or Academy, and the other
and he's already within the pipeline.
He's already with EG. The other good jungler that I could see moving up would have been Fnatic, but he's in EGP. He's good. Move him up, right? Like, that's great for EG. Made it onto the LCS broadcast. Freak brought it up. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
They talked about Tomio?
Well, yeah, because contracts.
Freak was reading out my tweets. It was pretty sweet.
What?
I'm kidding. No, but he was, Tomio's a really good prospect, right? And so, yeah, they moved him up. And I think contracts in LCS level jungler.
I'm really curious
he was
to see
best player
where
in
this
Proving
is
Grounds.
at. I'm sorry I'm derailing the conversation. I just want to go back in the broadcast and see where they mentioned, because anytime that like LCS broadcast talks about semi-pro, I just have to like stroke my ego real quick.
It's usually only Emily Rand.
Give me a sec.
Emily Rand is pretty fucking awesome for championing semi-pro, which is more the reason why I love her so much.
It was after EG's win over TSM post game. You can check it out then.
All right, I'll go look it up. Cool. It's awesome when LCS acknowledges our presence and that we exist, because in the past they would usually just say like, oh, I don't know where these guys came from. Yeah, it's just somewhere on solo queue or somewhere in amateur. And it's like, well, they don't know the stories, man. We can tell you the stories. We can tell you the history. So anyway.
So, regarding Tomio on this team, I am personally very excited for Tomio. I'm very excited for all the players in EG. I am a little bit concerned because we already know that Jojo and now Team Luke on this team are very prone to making very aggressive some might use the aggressive term of coin flip plays to try to outplay their opponents.
Not a dirty little flipper himself too? Come on.
That is what I'm getting at.
He's gonna fit
That's what I'm getting at. When you have more than half of your team that is like that, things might get a little bit interesting, I think, with this team. They're going to be entertaining.
I think under the Evil Geniuses banner that fits right with the brand. Hashtag.
But does it fit with winning, Raafaa? That's my question. Is it going to give them wins?
I think that there is
Let's define in your mind what is winning. First of all, winning
destroying the enemy team Nexus.
See, you and I could have different senses of what winning is. Continue, Cody.
No, I want to hear what you think winning is. If it's
I
not
think
that.
winning an academy is just developing your players and getting them better. I think EG is still continuing to do that with getting.
There you go.
Also,
man, man.
Also, I think there is a stark difference between the junglers, some of the junglers in academy, with the ones that have pro experience or have been in academy a little bit longer, and the ones that may be new. Looking at Hyper Will, obviously. They're talented. They're there for a reason, but they don't have as much experience. And guess what? Tomio has more experience. I think that Tomio is going to be better than them right off the bat. I think Tomio is going to be a mid-tier jungler for EG, which will, of course, hurt because Contracts was the top-tier jungler, the best player in Proving Grounds, mind you. He was in the conversation for that, right? Like, you could have different arguments on who you think's the best, but he had to be in the conversation, right? Tomio's not. We've seen Tomio versus
not immediately.
Anda. Yeah, no, he won't be, right? We've seen Tomio versus Anda. We've seen Tomio versus some of the other junglers that we've had, Kenvi. Looking back at EGP's Road, we've seen Tomio versus Rosethorn. I think Tomio's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be a mid-tier jungler in Academy. I think he's going to have some good moments. I think he's going to have some bad moments. He's a young player. It was time for him to move up. He's going to fit right in there. And on the path of development, that's exactly when you want to move people, right? He's going to fit right into the team, into the league. He's going to be just fine. So I'm excited to see Tomio. Obviously, this hurts EG, but their goal is to make it to Worlds with their LCS team, and that's what Academy teams are for. They managed to keep contracts playing active at a very high level. He's going to help the LCS team, and now Tomio is going to develop in here. It's great. Really good to see.
It is great.
Yeah.
All things positive. Super excited for Tomio. And another added note, as we're going to lump in Bucio with this, just like last year, the teams that have tier 3 teams really want to have their players that they want to keep around promoted before scouting grounds
They
and
have
before the open season of everything.
Yes, there is a
if
deadline.
they want to keep them around.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a deadline that passed, and that's why Tomio and Bucio got moved up.
But not only is the deadline there for that, it's also like it keeps the players within org is a really big deal.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if they go into the wild west,
They go to scouting
then
grounds.
yeah. And for Tomio, he went to scouting grounds last year, and EG picked him up from there, so he doesn't need to go again.
Yeah.
They don't want him to go
Bucio's
again.
yeah, exactly. Bucio could have gone if 100x made it, but
Depending on which account he wanted to play on, mid,
yeah,
jungle, or support.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have won as all three guys. It's cool.
Yeah. Let's not forget that Bucio is actually a mid lane mastermind, and he role swapped to support this season and is actually supports in semi-pro right now.
He's not in semi-pro right now.
Well, was right, but here's my thing though. The thing I find, like, I want Bucio to stay with 100 Thieves but unless Poom gets upgraded, they're keeping Poom, and then what? Bucio and Poom are just going to split time, or 100 Thieves is going to sell Bucio for a really nice profit to an academy team that wants him.
I don't think that Bucio is going to see any play. And I think that it's going to be one of the things where 100 Thieves have a tough roster decision to make going into the next split. And they know that they want...
what we're looking at this point.
They want
that's what I'm saying, going into next split.
Yeah.
So, like, for 2022, I think, like, the way I see it is that Poom's not leaving 100 Thieves unless they think Bucio is a better investment than Poom.
They just kept Bucio. I mean, they got 3 good supports, and one has to be an academy. And so I think they think that either Poom or Hui will find LCS teams, and then Bucio will slot in. I don't know. We'll see. They have choices, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I really don't know what I'd do if I was 100 Thieves in that position, because I think Hui's playing well. You want to develop Bucio. They got choices, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But
that is a decision.
It's tricky in the good way for 100 Thieves.
Bucio's
got the money,
LCS.
they've got the talent.
It is a good problem to have, I guess, if you're 100 Thieves, because since you probably have to give up one of them, you get to sell them, and you make money for the org, and they are all good players to have under your roster. So,
depends
from a managing
on when contracts expire, which might be able to actually check on that.
Yeah, we could maybe get really in depth with this, but I did want to bring that up for the academy section. Worth noting that the other LCS backed orgs did not do this. A big one from within like our realm with the prospect list is Wixie. He will still very likely be going to scouting grounds and be considered for that sort of thing, I would assume. And
so
other than that,
let's remind the audience what scouting grounds will take. They are going to take the top 2 semi-pro teams.
From proving grounds based on placements there.
Yeah.
There might be tiebreakers, but we'll see when we get there.
And then if there are any players that are ineligible to participate, then they will just go to the next full team of that role of the player that fit in. Then the other 2 groups of 5 are going to be taken from solo queue, the highest ranked on solo queue ladder.
Yeah, with the snapshot system and everything.
Yeah.
Important note: there's no expiring contract on 100 Thieves' roster at the end of this year.
So they can sell if if any teams want to buy them out early. That is potentially a lot of good money to make on one of those players. Do we know where Wixie is on the ladder right now? Or
Not sure. I'll look it up for you right now.
Okay.
Let me get a look.
Because at this rate, Wildcard Red is going to be the first 5 full-man team of People's Scouting Grounds. However,
Most likely.
But from that team, who can actually participate? It can't be Arrow. We're probably getting Bradley Daption. Are Winston and Brandini eligible to participate or no?
Brandini is not. I know that because he played Academy this year on CLG.
Okay. So
I think Wixie changed his account's name, by the way, because I don't see it under C9 Wixie anymore. So I don't know. I won't be able to answer that question.
So
continue.
Bradley Daption for sure. Winston, I'm assuming maybe. And I'm trying to think. Because then after that, you could either have the Cloud9 team, you could have Zeus Gaming. If you had Zeus Gaming, would Alorum and Tuesday and Griffin... It can't be Griffin because he was in CLG Academy earlier this year. I guess you would have Raheen and Pocket Rhino. Like, how many of these players would even be eligible if Zeus Gaming got in?
Botlane would for sure.
Yeah, Raheen for sure.
I think Rhino played Academy last year. I mean, we can figure this out later too. Like, we can actually.
I don't know if Academy last year counts.
Well, we could do like a episode kind of more dedicated to scouting grounds towards the back half of the season where we have less things to talk about. That might be interesting. But I mean, push comes to shove, right? Ultimately, like, orgs were forced to make a decision this past week with their third rosters about whether or not they would assign them to Academy contracts, and decision was made for all those players, and a couple were announced. Most weren't. I think the big thing for Busio is that 100 Thieves are paying to put that decision off with Busio, right? Whereas Tomio is getting slotted in immediately. So,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But not surprised that Tomio and Busio were kept. I know that Busio wasn't on our prospects list, but I think if we go back in the audio of some of these episodes, I can be caught
lots
saying,
of honorable mentions.
We have talked
honorable mentions.
We've been lauding the bot lane of 100 Thieves Next since spring.
Honorable mentions and quote unquote Busio, please, or Hunter Next, please give me a reason to put Busio on this list.
Yeah,
because that's pretty much where we were at.
Instinct and Busio during the spring were 2v8ing a lot of their games, and now 100 Thieves Next. Even though, depending on what Wildcard Red shows up tomorrow, more than likely Wildcard Red will still beat 100 Thieves Next tomorrow, especially now that they are going to be using Gweiss as their support.
We can move into that now if you want.
Yeah, we can just do semi-pro next.
Yeah. Let me give my last note.
Sure.
Don't give Jose Diodo Lee Sin. They keep disrespecting the Lee Sin, and they're like, oh yeah, we can give it to him. And then this dude just says, no, get fucking shit on.
You gotta take it away from him. He's really good at it.
Oh my god. I was watching that VOD on speedrun, and on the plane, I was like, no. You know what? I'm going to go 0.5 speed on this. I need to really ease into this one. Ah, yes, Jose.
I gotta go.
Dude, Smack, you're turning super red right now. I didn't mean
Let's change topics fast. Up
Dude,
next,
Max is turning as red as his shirt right now.
starting to match
Jesus.
this.
If I turn this color, then there's something very wrong. I
Heart attack
need to call an
smacks.
ambulance. Yeah.
All right. EGL Semi-Pro up
EGL.
next. We are in the semifinals.
Semifinals tomorrow.
I'm the only person that correctly predicted the semifinals here. Thank you very much. AoE over Zeus. Not even a close series.
Yeah. You did.
No, AoE's
wait,
been playing better.
whoa.
It was a 2-1.
It was a very close series.
It was, but it was off stream, so no one knows, right? It was 2-1. I was getting pinged that like the last game was like 3 dragons to 3 dragons, like super close throughout. Really bummed that we couldn't see that, but yeah.
We were. I'm hoping. EGL said that we would be able to get some footage on that.
Yeah.
On that quarterfinal.
I don't have it yet.
We have not received the link because it was supposed to be Darkwing's POV, but what they were doing is wanted to remove all the audio so that it didn't give away any AoE strats or comms or information like that. So,
speaking of AoE, they're probably going to qualify to Proving Grounds in the next 2 days. Because the 2 teams that they are worried about have huge roster moves.
Oh, that is
pretty sure AoE. Pretty sure AoE
All
is
right, Cubby. Hit them with the. Well, so we already mentioned 100 Thieves next is using Gweiss as their support instead of Busio.
Yep.
Cubby, I will let you announce.
League Media has it, by the way.
Oh, well,
the
still, Cubby, you get to be the one.
15. Bluster, who played on Radiance.
Surprising how the other there's now 2 people from Radiance that are now on much better teams, and considering the Philip went to FlyQuest Academy, and here's the thing. I know this is a little bit of FlyQuest Academy, but Philip is looking decent. He solo killed and traded 1-for-1 against Viper. Against fucking Viper. Like, this is... For me, Philip was supposed to be like a piss random that got picked up by Radiance.
Philip was alright. Like, in his team, because he was on the XTGN team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
From last year, like, he was actually like a decent
Phillip.
top laner, yeah.
Philip,
Philip was pretty good. Like, once... One of the, like, Philip's not bad. I mean, I'd still take Viper over him, but yeah, no, he played really well this week. And having Jose Deodo and Palafox kind of run the rift on everyone also helps you get started as top laner in Academy. But Philip's been playing all right. It's good to see. Yeah.
Bluster. Maybe Radiance wasn't that cracked or that high when they made that roster.
I mean, okay, so the interesting part about Radiance, and kind of like teasing out what Bluster is going to bring to the table, is that they were letting Bluster play what looked to be like whatever the fuck Bluster wanted to play. And the only way they could win is if Bluster played whatever the fuck he wanted to play and carried.
Exactly.
And so...
those stuff was like Rek'Sai and Kayn.
Yep.
And like all the lethality assassins in the book.
Graves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar to Will's champion pool in Dignitas Academy.
Another very young player. Anyway.
What is it with the solo queue Zoomers and playing
the lethality champions?
Graves
might be a really big pick.
Well, I mean, in solo queue, it's either do or bust, right? You either snowball and get super fucking fed and no one can stop you, or you just...
Or you coast and have a 50% win rate.
Yep.
Or you coast and have a 40% win rate.
Yeah. That's also a possibility.
Boom. Caster, by the way.
The Bluster move, it's essential. You have to find a jungler. I don't mean to like belittle Bluster like this, but he's coming into a very rushed situation, and it's really hard to say that Evil Geniuses is going to be favored in either of the series that they're about to play. But I do hope for the best, because this team, Evil Geniuses Prodigies, is still one of the teams that I think a lot of like spectators and a lot of people in the scene are really wanting to keep going and keep going to like proving grounds and everything. I know we talked to Ido and he said that like the results are not going to matter a lot for this team because they trust their pipeline a
It's not their
lot.
job, yeah.
Yeah, but those players can't be on Evil Genius's prodigies next year. The contracts have to expire. So this sort of is their last hurrah with the Evil Geniuses prodigies as a squad. And I do still hope for the best. I still hope that either they qualify off of this tournament or the next one.
Yeah,
But
I'm actually
it's
really bummed if we don't get to see the Tomio EGP against Wildcard Red. Because that
yeah.
was the best run for their money Wildcard Red has gotten.
Mhm.
Was that quarterfinal in Cup where it went to 5. And then Surdy went like 0-10 on Wukong. But, you know, that was game 5. Surdy played really
Yeah.
well in a couple other games in that series. Um,
So I wanna add something. The last time that a summer tier 3 LCS organization swapped out their superstar jungler at the last second and brought in a relatively unknown player, they still smurfed it. And that jungler is playing
Was
in
it Nick?
LCS right now. His name is
Um,
NXI.
this is true. And
Now
fun
Bluster's
fact,
15, so he can't do that next year.
hold on.
So that won't happen.
Fun fact,
What's the fun fact?
scouted by the same person.
Kelsey
Team
Moser.
Moser.
Now, obviously, it's a team effort over there, but
Yes.
I think
So
that
lots of parallels.
I've had a lot of discussions with people that are looking at the semi-pro scene, and the consensus is that looking for good tops and supports, it's a bit of a desert. You got to look for the diamonds in the rough. That doesn't make any sense as I compared it to a desert, but we're gonna roll with it. You get what I mean. Whereas jungle and AD talent grows on trees, and then mid lane it's the same person cloned 50 times over. It just plays slightly different champs.
Wow.
And then also APA on Aurelion Soul.
So I just said just plays slightly different champs, right? So
That's more than slight.
If you're a player listening and you want to set yourself apart, just play top or support, right? Or don't be a clone.
Well,
Use your F keys out of base. Come on.
there were plenty of mid laners that got offered to play in academy if they role swap to support from scouting grounds last year.
Well, it worked for Busio. Anyway.
Yep. Deservedly so. All right. So I think predictions for EGL. Does anyone have Wildcard Red dropping a game to Hunter next?
No.
No.
I think Wildcard gets the 3-peat. I think they win all 3 tournaments.
If it was Busio, then I could have potentially seen it. Which is a shame because I actually want to see how Young plays into Bradley because I know Young has been having a upward trend. And I don't have high hopes for Young because Bradley's just a freak. But
I'm giving Hunter next a game because I think that Wildcard Red beat themselves, by the way. So
that I do believe. I will. It's off stream.
Oh, it's off stream, really?
Yeah, because we
the
are
other
streaming.
series being streamed.
We are
Okay.
streaming the EGP.
It'll be on Trovo, probably.
Yeah,
We'll be on
it will
Trovo.
be on Trovo.
There are some things I don't hate about Trovo, though. It's not all
What's
bad.
That's
It's
great.
good for Wildcard Red for making the dosh and actually trying to support their team. It's good.
True.
Do you have, I mean, 3-0, 3-0, 3-1? Is that how we're going?
Wildcard, yeah.
I'm willing to go 3-1. Just
Let's go.
just for fucking fun. Just because probably what will happen, Wildcard will beat them in 2-0, and then Wildcard will
And
pull
Bradley's going to want to play Senna.
Yeah, Bradley's just gonna hey dude, yo, Dash, you wanna play mid lane, bro? Or Arrow, you wanna play mid lane, bro? Let me play bot lane.
God bless. Yep. I think that Wildcard Red are the heavy favorites to win the tournament. I think that The more interesting discussion, though, is the flip side, where it is AoE versus EGP. And also important to note and frame all this that we will be talking about the third place match that we predict, because
If Wildcard wins.
third place, well, if Wildcard Red makes the finals, which we fully expect them to,
Then
the third
third
place
place
match,
is the other
winner gets a proving ground slot, the loser does not. That is
Yep.
intense.
Until maybe later.
Well, the winner doesn't have to play in UGP.
seed.
So that's a big match. So we will be doing third place predictions, which might be more entertaining than the final, honestly. But before we do that, we have to determine our other semifinal, which would be AoE versus EGP. A very fun matchup, actually.
Yeah. I'm taking AoE personally. I'm not fully bought in. I think that there's still an asterisk because of the roster moves for Evil Geniuses. We do know from Ido that Shoryu will still not be in. They will still have a different AD carry who will probably not be
It's not going to be Saskio again.
Askio. No.
Damn, Saskio actually played really well against TSM.
Saskio did it really well in their 2 wins. Yeah.
He will very likely not be in.
That's a fucking shame. Who are they gonna get then?
We'll see tomorrow.
Man,
but the asterisks are there for AoE's victory, but I do still think that they're going to get it. And I think they're gonna meet Wildcard in the finals. And you know what? Fuck the asterisks anyway. They beat Zeus. That's a really big deal. Like that series super close. Yeah, they earned their way up here, and if they do get the spot, it's going to be very well deserved. But we can't ignore the circumstances of EG, I'd say.
I think it's really awesome that AoE are finally breaking their quarterfinals curse, and if they break the quarterfinals curse, then they're going to make it all the way to the finals. So, and I know I just said a bunch of like voodoo logic, but just given the context of EGP not only now using a new jungler in I was about to say Blouse, but it's not Blouse, Bluster.
Yeah.
And not like if they had Saskio, then I was like, you know what? Maybe they can figure out a way to play around Bluster, right, and let him do what he wants. But if you're doing Bluster and a new ADC, that's another ADC that Skytech has to like get used to after just barely subbing in with Saskio, and that just adds more things to the equation for EGP. So I think AoE are the favorites to win this series, and if they drop a game, it'll be one. So, but I will give EGP the benefit of the doubt and say like a 3-1 victory over AoE that EGP are able to squeak out a win. But I think looking across the board, Dark Wings is Aspect played really well in his series against TSM. I think Dark Wings is a better laner than Aspect. Like if I had to, I know that Dark Wings wasn't on my prospect list for quite some time, since AoE wasn't making out of quarterfinals. I know. I'm just, other shit was happening, and AoE wasn't putting up the results outside of quarterfinals. But Dark Wings, I think, is a better laner than Aspect. I think RBM will be a better jungler than Bluster. So, and I think that mid jungle synergy is already going to be enough for AoE to run the map against a new, fresh team, essentially for EGP.
I think AoE win 3-2. I actually think with all the issues, or I shouldn't say issues, all the changes that EGP are going through in a short amount of time, I think the pieces they have, Aspect and Surdy, are still good enough to make this a fun series. And I think AoE are the better team, but keep in mind AoE have been on a little bit of an upswing. They got a new support. It's been working out. But I do think that a couple of AoE's results as well are they lost some really close series, like especially the 3-1 versus AoE randoms where they got knocked out of Cup. That was one of the closest 3-1s I've ever seen. I think AoE are a good team, but I think the EGP are also a good team. And I'm really excited to watch Aspect versus Darkwings and Surdy versus Faisal. I think that these are 4 players that have not been on the academy stage that are good. And I think the solo lane matchups are going to be a lot of fun. I favor Surdy and Darkwings, but it doesn't mean that Aspect and Faisal, they're very much in a role where they have to do their job within their team, and they have less resources, and they are good at doing their job. I think they're 4 good players in the solo lanes for this matchup, and I'm really excited to watch them go head-to-head, actually. It's going to be really fun to tune into. See.
Faisal Sturdy and Darkwing's Aspect are really fun matchups to watch.
Yeah, it should be good matchups. So, 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. That's on twitch.tv/academy.
You know what? If AoE qualify for Proving Grounds in the next 2 days, then next week on Raising an A, I will tell you all a fun story about Faisal.
Okay.
Just to give you some excitement there, because I do have a fun story about him.
Okay. Third
so now
place
we talk
match. Yeah, let's do third. Okay, so Wildcard Red, we have AoE versus Wildcard Red. 3. What are our predictions? I'm not really interested in that one. So
yeah,
I'm not either. I'll go 3-1.
Wildcard Red probably wins 3-1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Wildcard Red.
Sorry, AoE fans. Wildcard Red's really fucking good.
You know what? Wildcard Red 3-0. All right, third place game.
Nice.
Now, all I'm gonna say, AoE, if you beat EGP and then you bring Wildcard, you don't even have to win the series. If you bring Wildcard Red to 5 games, that's a job well fucking done.
Well, I mean, they're trying to go for the win, but I would love to see a good series. I don't think we're gonna be granted one. That's where I'm at.
We'll see.
We will see.
Well, it'll be great because Mark will be in studio and we'll get to watch him pop off on stage.
This is true.
Now, if AoE beat Wildcard Red, so let's just take a hypothetical approach, because I know there are some AoE fans probably in the chat. I'm assuming, if AoE not only make finals, but they beat Wildcard Red, I'm gonna be in the studio. I will have a surprise plan to celebrate AoE's victory over Wildcard Red. Just if that happens. If it happens, I will have something planned. And hopefully, if you guys, if AoE actually makes the final and if they beat Wildcard Red, then you get to see what happens, what chaos ensues afterward. But let's talk about the third place match, assuming that AoE goes to the finals.
Dude. Okay. 2 LCS orgs, both fighting for a Proving Ground spot. That's pretty hype.
Yes.
What do we think about EGP versus 100 Next? Is there a series there? We're going to have a lot to learn on Monday, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, that one's so hard.
This is really shooting in the dark.
Predict. You know what?
Can we revisit this after tomorrow?
Well, we can't record it, so we just got to do it now for content.
We're live right now, Mark.
We are closing our eyes and throwing darts at a dartboard with this one. We have 7 out of 10 pieces that we're familiar with.
You know what? I think that Tuesday will be a Chad Jungle diff. I think Chad Jungle will win 100 the series.
I think it's going 5, that's for sure.
Yes.
Honestly, the third place might be a more exciting series than the final.
It probably will be. It probably will be.
Which is a shame.
I wonder how that's going to be streamed.
Someone has to do it.
You know what? Okay, if you're out there and you have some connection to Evil Geniuses and or 100 Next, and that is the series that is taking place in third place because it's not locked in for sure yet. Either one of those teams could win. If you are on one of those teams and that does happen, please reach out to me. I have a TR account. I will personally stream your game.
Even if you do, let's see. If it's on Tournament Realm, you. Oh no, wait, that's Academy. Never mind. I think you should be good because I know there's some like licensing broadcast agreements that Riot has made when it comes to like streaming games through the Tournament Realm. I think with EPL it's fine.
I'll just reach out to someone else. If it's even is on TR. If it's not on TR, then free. Cool. I'll do it that way. Either way, if that's the matchup, I'm gonna try my best to get that streamed on my channel. We'll get it to work.
I mean,
and then I'll find someone to cast it with me. We'll make it a whole thing.
You know Tony, right? Instinct. If just you can just ask him and then see like if it's okay, or just reach out to Fallen Bandit as well. So
yeah, I'll reach out to someone on both teams. I'll just message Ido or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, if it is on TR, then I'll ask like Trinity or something about it.
Yeah. So Cubby thinks it's going 5 games. This projected
5, yeah.
100 EG series. I guess it just really depends on the EDC for me that comes in for EG, because like if it is someone else
we don't know.
that's not Saskio, I don't know. Like now, if EG got like value, that'd be kind of sick. And then I might even say that it would be a 5-game series between them and AOE. But like, I don't know where's my boy Ross? Where is he? And so I just don't know any other available ADCs that EG could pick up in this amount of time that would make me think like, despite the roster changes, they are able to still like put a team to get together. But then at the same time, you have Gweiss coming in for Busio. So even though it's only one piece, you look at how pivotal Busio's role was on the old 100 Thieves Next roster.
A lot of his role was engage. He handled a lot of the engages, yeah.
So how does Gweiss now fit into that roster? He has to basically fill in for those shoes, and I don't know how well the coordination is going to be. So I'm even though like I would say they would also be a 5-game series, but I'm inclined to give EGP the favorite in that matchup.
I'm too.
Yeah, just because.
When Chad Jungle smurfs on everybody, you can come back to me.
I think it's going to be a really fun 5-game series. Like, they have new pieces. Each team's like trying to manage them last second. It's not the greatest scenario you can be in, but I mean, usually that leads to some pretty bloody 5 games. That's my call. I think the EGP's favor just because I know they're changing out an extra player, but I have a lot of faith in Faisal and Aspect. And I think 100 Next has been putting together a lot better games, but EGP have finished a little bit better throughout the rest, like the entire season. And I've got nothing else to bank this off of. I mean, we haven't seen either of these teams play. Fuck, they could each play tomorrow. We could even have this matchup, or we get to have this matchup being a 3-0 after we see the games tomorrow, right? Either way. So
we'll what would be pretty fucking lit is if tomorrow we get these matchups, Wildcard Red and AOE, and 100 Thieves Next and EGP, but in reverse. 100 Thieves Next and EGP.
Masochist Raafaa.
Yes. then neither of the series matter because the spots are already locked.
Is it likely? No. But am I a fan? Yes.
Max, did you see how Cubby was drinking? He almost just choked on it.
I thought I was going somewhere totally different, and then you just like went full masochist. So yeah. Anyway,
it'll be great. You know what? That's going to happen. So I don't even know. You know what? Instinct brings it up. What's so funny about that?
Oh,
might just have to end
gonna
things
happen.
on that, you know?
I mean, hey,
Yeah, I think
first
we
of
might.
all, Instinct, big fan, Tony. Second of all, if you guys win as Wildcard Red, I just want to know how long you've been playing with Gweiss behind the scenes, because there's no way that you would be able to come together in such a short amount of time.
Smurf.
Like you've already been playing together, but
Fun fact, by the way, for that game, I believe UWO with Gorica and Winston, who is on Wildcard Red. I think Weiss, if I'm not mistaken. I think some UWO and a little bit of collegiate history there.
Very nice.
Anyway, that's
with
it for
that,
us. Yeah.
yeah.
Real quick, where can we find you guys this week? Raafaa Smacks. What are you going to be up to, casting wise, or where can we find you? What do you got going on before the next episode?
Well, we already mentioned that all three of us are casting Academy this weekend, or this week, rather. Wednesday, Thursday. Mark's actually going to be on a plane on Wednesday, so he's going to be absent. I'll be with Mazel
Let Mark
Wednesday.
talk. What do you got, Smacks? We can say our own shit. What do you got?
Sorry. The other thing that I'm related to is the Wild Rift stuff that's happening tomorrow and Tuesday. Mark and I are a pair for that, but we don't have those days. We have next week. So tune into this week. You can see Alk Battery and Kangas casting the first qualifier.
All right, guys.
And that's gonna be great.
And guess what? I'm gonna segue this into some Wild Rift stuff. So, for me, Wild Rift Summoner Series is taking place tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. Kangas and Alk Battery will be casting that. I'll be obviously doing EGL semifinals and finals on Academy, and then I'll be casting with Smacks on Academy Thursday. One of the cool things, or, the interesting things about Wild Rift Summoner Series, we have a bracket for the first qualifier.
There is a team on there.
There is a team on there. It is Cloud9. Now, the other 4 players I don't recognize, but the one player everyone will know, the jungler is going to be Tarzan.
Yep.
He's playing in the Wild Rift qualifier?
He's playing on Cloud9.
Wild Rift.
It's Tarzan.
It's fucking Tarzan, dude.
Okay. Well, that's pretty fun.
He's playing tomorrow.
Smacks, can we find you anywhere else this week?
You can find me playing TFT all week.
All right, Raafaa, what about you?
You can find me on any social media at RaafaCasts. RaaFaaCasts. That is for Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, as I have now made a TikTok account. Smacks recently followed me, so did Sam Price.
I did.
So,
I have a TikTok that has 1 million views.
Yeah, Smacks popped off on a weird, wave pool.
ASMR theme park thing.
Yeah, 1 million views on TikTok.
It has 1 million views.
All of the Michigan homies over there. So
I don't know what it's like.
It's pretty popular here.
That's fun.
I don't know, but I do have a TikTok that has 1 million views. I did want to mention I am going to try my damnedest to cast the 3rd place match on Tuesday. So if that does happen, my Twitch channel is SmacksCasts. You can find me there. Hopefully that happens. I'm gonna try my best.
Okay.
That's it for me, though.
Smacks, you have 90 seconds to talk about Pokemon Unite.
Pokemon Unite. Okay, I'm great tier 4 right now, which is 1 away from ultra or expert tier, I think. I've been playing with Outbatter. I've been playing with Raafaa. I've been playing with Ben, my good friend from elementary school, actually. And it's very fun. The depth of it is not a lot. I don't know how long it's going to be like a big thing. But it is going to be a mobile game, so that probably means it's going to pop off in like a lot of other countries too. Good game, very fun. I like Pokemon. I like MOBAs. I'm having fun with it. And if you have a Switch, message me. We can play.
Wow, that was 45 seconds. All right.
Well, I can add another 20 seconds.
All right, what do we got, Raafaa?
We got Alk Battery to Emerald, so me, Smax, and Alk Battery are all Emerald in Wild Rift, which is the
And the season
equivalent
ends
of,
tomorrow.
yeah, the season does end tomorrow. I'm going to be playing some Wild Rift solo queue to see if I can push for Diamond 4. Emerald, by the way, for those that are curious, is like the equivalent of D4 in D4, D3 in normal League of Legends. So for many people, people can say that it's like, oh yeah, it's good, and then others will be like, D4 is piss random. You know, it's just you made it above the cut. So
It's
that's
our
why
first season, though.
it
We're
is our
doing pretty good for ourselves. That's our
yeah.
first
Yeah, it's
try.
not bad. It's a good start.
So if we get the diamond, then that is the equivalent of like D2, D1. Now, a lot of the people participating in the Wild Rift Summoner Series, obviously there's a Cloud9 roster, which is all challenger players, but a lot of the teams that are trying to play are like mix of mid diamond and low masters or grandmasters players. So if we were to push for diamond for next season, then we would be in the top 4% of the player base. So
Cool.
Yeah. So we're pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Well, best of luck with the grind. Gents, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been fun.
What's new with golf?
Yeah, I got nothing, man. I had a quiet week. I enjoyed things being off. I'll be on Academy Wednesday, Thursday, then audio on the LCS Friday, Saturday. We'll see. We're talking about schedules behind the scenes. But thanks for joining us. Episode 8 of Raising NA. I've got a lot of catch up to do in terms of uploads. And yeah, make sure to follow us at PGroundsPod on Twitter /ProvingGroundsPod, everything else. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Until then.
bye.